Hello, I'm Dr. Aruna Saman and we are going to discuss Mendelian genetics. Gregor John Mendel, the father of modern genetics, he was an Austrian monk and he did pioneering work in the field of genetics. He carried out simple experiments of hybridization on garden pea plants and he explained the mechanism of inheritance and appearance of variations in the progeny. How exactly the characters get transmitted from generation to generation, how similarities and differences are observed in closely related organisms. The mechanism of all this is explained by Mendel. His conclusion from the experiments he made became laws in genetics. He proposed the concept of gene, which he called factor then. His work was much ahead of his time. He started his work in 1856 and published his work in 1865. Unfortunately, he never got recognition for his work in his lifetime. His death in 1900 and after that his work was rediscovered by the three scientists Hugo de Vries, Carl Correns and Erich Schemark separately. They published his work and then Mendel got recognition for his work. In today's video, we are going to discuss monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross, the three laws of inheritance, back cross and test cross, and neo-Mendelism. One of the reasons for Mendel's success is his selection of the tool for his experiment, the garden pea plant. This pea plant shows distinct contrasting characters, and that way we come across variety of pea plants. The 7 different characters selected by Mendel are shape of the seed, color of the seed, shape of the fruit called pod and color of the pod, the color of the flower and position of the flower on the plant, and the height of the plant. Each of these characters, they have contrasting traits. For example, for seed shape, there is round shaped seed and wrinkled shaped seed. And then he also introduced the concept of dominant and recessive traits. The round shape of the seed is shown here dominant and wrinkled shape is recessive. It is because the round, suppose, is controlled by a gene which is represented by a symbol capital R, and small r is a symbol to represent the gene responsible for wrinkled shape of the seed. Then the round shape is controlled by 2 genes, and here if both genes are dominant, the shape of the seed is going to be round, but the 2 genes controlling the shape of the seed, suppose one is dominant, other is recessive, the shape is still round. It is because the heterozygous condition, only dominant character finds its expression. And when the recessive gene will find its expression, only in the homozygous condition. So dominant gene finds its expression in heterozygous condition, whereas recessive gene never finds its expression in the heterozygous condition. The recessive gene remains suppressed in the heterozygous condition. Thus, for each of these characters, we find alternative traits, and among them, the dominant traits and recessive traits are clearly observed in the plant. Let us see for seed color. Yellow color is dominant over green. For fruit shape, inflated fruit is dominant over constricted shape of the fruit. And that way, each of the character is showing alternative traits, dominant and recessive. Reasons for Mendel's success. His experiments were carefully planned and it involved large sample. It is because garden pea is an annual plant and completes the life cycle within 3 to 4 months. And because of that, Mendel could grow 3 generations in a year. And it produces many seeds. So Mendel could grow thousands of pea plants. He carefully recorded the number of plants of each type, applied the principle of probability in statistics, and expressed his results as ratios. In the pea plant, contrasting characters can be easily recognized. The 7 different characters in pea plant were controlled by single factor each. And the factors, those are later called genes, are located on separate chromosomes. And these genes are transmitted from generation to generation. He introduced the concept of dominance and recessiveness. Let us discuss first monohybrid cross. What is monohybrid cross? It is a cross between 2 pure parents. Pure parents means homozygous. The 2 genes controlling a character are having same information in them. So pure parents differing in only one pair of contrasting inheritable character. Inheritable character only is called trait. So one pair only is taken into consideration and that cross is called monohybrid cross. For example, only one contrasting character here is tall and dwarfness of the plant. The phenotype, the plant is tall, the plant is dwarf. And the genotype, capital T, that is the pure tallness and pure dwarfness. Another example, yellow seed and green seed. So phenotype is yellow seed, which is pure yellow. Both the genes are alike. And green seeds, again pure green, because both the genes are alike, homozygous condition. That is called pure plants. And when this cross is further studied, its results are taken into consideration, then this is called monohybrid cross. As against this, what is dihybrid cross? The 2 pairs, this is one pair and this is separate pair. But if these 2 pairs are considered together, then it is called dihybrid cross. So cross between 2 pure parents differing in 2 pairs of contrasting characters is called dihybrid cross. So here we have taken the example of yellow colored seeds having round shape and green colored seeds having wrinkled shape. So yellow color and green color, this is one pair. Round shape and wrinkled shape, this is second pair. The 2 pairs are taken together and that is called dihybrid cross. Again, the parents selected are pure varieties. They are homozygous. We will have an example in detail for monohybrid cross. The parents, tall parent and dwarf parent, the pure varieties are selected. So they become phenotype. One of the plant can be male plant, the other female. The one which is decided as male plant, from that pollen grains are collected and they are deposited on the stigma of female plant, whatever is considered. The reciprocal cross also can be done, but results will be the same. Now what is the genotype? We have already said the varieties are pure varieties. So tall, here we will have 2 genes which are dominant gene and both are alike. So capital T, dwarf, small t. Now the gametes will be formed. So at the time of gamete formation, the pair of genes, they separate and each gamete will receive only one of the genes. So this way, from male plant, 2 types of male gametes which are produced are all having capital T in them. So all male gametes are of only one type, all having the gene for tallness. Similar way, the female gametes, the eggs, there will be many, but all eggs will have gene for dwarfness. F1 generation is obtained by fusion of the gametes, and we get capital T and small t. So resultant progeny is a hybrid. It is heterozygous, but in heterozygous condition, only dominant gene will find its expression. So this offspring will be tall offspring. So genotype capital T, small t, and phenotype tallness. Now to get F2 generation, this flower from this hybrid tall plant, we will carry out self-pollination, inbreeding. So phenotype tall and tall, that is male and female reproductive organs of that same flower we are considering. So genotype will be the same. Now the gamete formation. From the male gamete combination, the two genes will separate and male gametes will be of two types. Some having capital T, that is dominant gene, and remaining having recessive gene. Similar way, female gametes also will be of two types. Some having dominant gene for height, tallness, and remaining having the gene for dwarfness. Now we have to see the fusion of these gametes. For that, we are going to use Punnett square or checkerboard. It is a diagram used to understand all possible genotypes in a particular cross. In this Punnett square or checkerboard, at the top we write male gametes and on left side the female gametes. Once again, they can be interchanged. Still the results will be the same. Now suppose the male gamete having capital T, dominant gene, unites with the egg having dominant gene. This will be the genotype of the progeny. Or the male gamete unites with this female gamete, the progeny will have heterozygous condition. Again, if this male gamete fuses with the female gamete having recessive gene, this will be the combination, heterozygous condition. And the recessive gene containing male gamete fuses with the recessive gene containing female gamete, then resultant genotype of the progeny will be the two recessive genes, homozygous. So, how many homozygous dominant combinations we got? That we have written here. Then we got heterozygous combination and once again homozygous recessive combination. So this is genotype. If we actually count them, then that it comes to 1:2:1. Though here we find the dominant homozygous and the heterozygous condition as separately, phenotypically both will show tallness and this progeny will be dwarf. So phenotype we are going to get is tall plants and dwarf plant. So there will be 3 tall plants and 1 dwarf plant. So this is called monohybrid ratio. Monohybrid ratio will always be 3:1. Mendel's first law of inheritance, law of dominance. When two homozygous individuals with one or more sets of contrasting characters are crossed, the characters that express in F1 are dominant and those which do not express in F1 are recessive. We are once again going through the same example. We have taken here two homozygous individuals with one set of contrasting characters. You can take one or more sets. So here one set is taken and the alleles which express in F1, this is F1 generation, only one allele could express itself, and that is called the dominant gene. And the other allele which remains suppressed is called recessive gene. This is not universally applicable because in some other organisms we come across incomplete dominance and codominance. Mendel's second law of inheritance, law of segregation or law of purity of gametes. When hybrid F1 forms gametes, the members of allelic pair separate or segregate from each other and enter in different gametes. Thus, gametes receive only one of the two factors and are pure for the given trait. Let us see the same example and understand this law. Here, when hybrid F1 forms gametes, so here is a hybrid. Hybrid means heterozygous condition it is. And when this will form gametes, yes, here we can see the hybrid forming gametes. And that time what is happening? The genes present in that hybrid, they separate or they segregate from each other and enter in different gametes. And thus each gamete receives only one of the two factors, and therefore each gamete is pure for the given trait. This is universally applicable law. The dihybrid cross. Let us understand this. Now in dihybrid cross, we take two pairs of contrasting characters in pure individual, that is homozygous condition. Which two pairs of characters we have considered? Yellow and green. These are the color of the seeds, and round and wrinkled, these are the shapes of the seeds. So color of the seed, one pair, shape of the seed, the other pair. So two pairs of contrasting characters. So this is phenotype. Now one of them will be male plant from where pollen grains will be collected, and other will be the female plant. The genotype, we must remember, it has to be homozygous, pure, and yellow color being dominant, we have taken capital Y as a symbol, and for a green color, small y. The two genes control a character, and here the round shape, R is taken as a symbol for round shape and small r for wrinkled. Gametes, as we have seen in the law of segregation or purity of gametes, the only one of the pair of genes enters the gamete. Out of these two capital Y, only one will enter. Out of these two capital R, only one gene will enter. As a result, the gametes are always pure for that character. So, male gametes will be many, but only of one type, all having capital Y and capital R. Similar way, the female gametes, there will be many eggs, but they will all have the recessive genes for color and for shape. And then F1 generation, as a symbolic, we are showing only one gamete fusing and forming this F1 generation progeny, which is hybrid heterozygous. The yellow color is dominant and round shape is dominant. So this progeny will have the phenotype yellow and round. Now selfing. So same flower of the flower of this plant, we are carrying out self-pollination. So we are repeating. The yellow round will be the chromosome genetic combination of the male reproductive part, and same combination will be of the female reproductive part. So also the genotype. Now gametes, the gametes once again recall the law of segregation. Out of the two, only one Y will enter. Out of the two, only one R will enter in a gamete. So here, out of these two, again only one Y has entered. Out of these two R, now the small r has entered. So this way there can be 4 different combinations, 4 different types of male gametes and 4 different combinations, and hence 4 different types of eggs. Now once again, to get the F2 generation, we will understand the different crossings of male and female gametes. Punnett square method or Punnett square checkerboard is used here. The male gametes and female gametes are first shown. Suppose this male gamete fuses with this female gamete, then this will be the combination. This male gamete fuses with the female gamete, the combination. And this way we can get all possible combinations here. And this is the Punnett square or checkerboard used here. So all the different combinations with this egg, we get these genotypes in the progeny, and again these combinations with this egg, we get these genotypes. So genotypic ratio, now we have to find out all the different genotypes. How many different types of combinations we have got? These many. Now each type, how many times we have got? So this particular combination once, this combination twice. So in this entire different possibilities, this combination is again twice we find, and this way each of the combination, how many times we get, that is noted down here. This becomes genotypic ratio. But though it is a genotypic ratio containing many different combinations, ultimately the dominant and recessive nature of the genes will give rise to very limited phenotypes, and they will be yellow round, yellow wrinkled, green round and green wrinkled. Yellow round and green wrinkled were there as parental combinations, whereas these have become new combinations, recombinations. And the ratio we are getting is 9:3:3:1. This second, the dihybrid cross is useful to understand the law of independent assortment. When hybrid possessing 2 or more pairs of contrasting factors forms gametes, the factors in each pair segregate independently of the other pair. So naturally, the law is telling us about a cross between the parents having 2 or more pairs. So we have to consider dihybrid cross. Here we have taken the 2 pairs of contrasting characters as yellow color and green color one pair, and round shape and wrinkle shape as the other pair. And if we remember this combination where capital Y is with capital R, small y with small r, and then in the F1 generation we get heterozygous condition. Now they are saying, the law is saying that when the gametes are formed, here when the gametes are formed by this heterozygous condition, these gametes do not necessarily remain associated with the same genes as they were in the parents. In the parents, the capital Y was associated with capital R, but here capital Y may get associated with small r. Here small y was associated with small r in the parental combination, but we come across small y associated with capital R also. And this exactly is expressed in this law. When a dihybrid or polyhybrid, this is dihybrid. If we had considered more than two, then it would have become polyhybrid. So when a dihybrid forms gametes, each gamete receives only one allele from each pair, and this distribution of allele is different, independent of their parental combinations. This is law of independent assortment. Backcross. In the Mendel's experiment, we always found that F1 individuals obtained are usually undergoing self-pollination to get F2 progeny. But the F1 progeny can also be crossed with one of the two parents. The parent organisms can either be recessive or dominant. So we started with the tall plant and dwarf plant, pure varieties, the gametes formed by those parents, and those gametes undergoing fertilization to produce F1 progeny. Now, instead of selfing this progeny, instead of carrying out self-pollination in this progeny, if the cross is done between this heterozygous progeny with either tall parent or with dwarf parent, then it is called backcross. So here cross with dominant parent and cross with recessive parent. Let us see first cross with dominant parent. If you remember the tall plant and tall plant, this is parental plant, this is F1 progeny. F1 progeny, instead of undergoing self-pollination, it is crossed with the one of the parental plant, which is dominant plant. These are the gametes obtained, and with the Punnett square method, if we see the different combinations, we get phenotypic ratio, all tall plants. There is no dwarf plant at all. Whereas if the cross is done with the recessive parent, so once again there will be the hybrid. This is obtained in F1 generation, but instead of undergoing self-pollination, it is crossed with recessive parent. And these are the gametes formed. And what combinations we get in the phenotypic ratio? We get tall and dwarf plant in 1:1 ratio. And the recessive parent cross is always called test cross. The back cross carried out with recessive parent is called test cross. Why it is called test cross? It is because we can find out genotype of any plant with dominant trait, whether it is homozygous or heterozygous for that trait. But this can be done using only the recessive parent, and therefore it is called test cross. Let us see how it is done. Suppose this is a purple color of the flower. It is a dominant trait, but we do not know what exactly is the genotype. There are two possibilities. Either the genotype will be pure for purple color, or it can be heterozygous or hybrid for purple color. How to determine what exactly is the genotype, whether it is pure or hybrid? So we take a white colored flower with recessive combination. White color itself is recessive and it will be available only in the homozygous condition. So we are crossing this unknown flower bearing plant with the known recessive white flower bearing plant. So when the results we get show all flowers purple and results show the purple is to white, both type of progeny in 1:1 ratio, then the interpretation of the first set of result, that is all flowers when we get purple, the unknown flower must be homozygous. And when we get the result of purple and white colored flowers in 1:1 ratio, the unknown flower must be heterozygous. So thus this can be found out, the genotype of particular trait can be found out only by crossing it with recessive parent. If we had taken dominant parent, in both the cases we would have got all purple flowers, and therefore the back cross with recessive parent only is called test cross. Now we will discuss neo-Mendelism. Incomplete dominance is observed in Mirabilis gelata. The parental plants selected here are the pure red and pure white. The red color is dominant over white color. The gamete form, by law of segregation, only one of the genes will enter the gamete. In F1 generation, what do we expect? The combination will be capital R, small r. And as per the law of dominance, it should have been the red color. But no, instead of red color, we find here pink color. Both the alleles of an allelomorphic pair express themselves partially. White color could express, the small r could express itself, and the dominant capital R also could express itself. And therefore, the color has become intermediate between red and white. It has become pink. And this is called incomplete dominance. One allele cannot suppress the expression of the other allele completely. There is an intermediate expression in the F1 hybrid. And to get F2 generation, selfing of the F1 is done. These are the gametes. And we get these combinations. So once again, we could get red color. The genotypic ratio 1:2:1, and phenotypic ratio we get red colored flower, pink color flower and white color flower in the ratio 1:2:1. So in F2 generation, phenotypic and genotypic ratios remain same. The codominance, it is found in the coat color of cattle. The parents pure red and pure white. Gamete, only one of the genes enters the gamete as per the law of segregation. And in F1 generation, we have found both the genes expressed themselves completely, not partially. There is a capital R dominant red color seed, and there is capital W. The white patches and red patches are observed in the F1 progeny. We call it roan color. Both alleles of an allelomorphic pair express themselves equally. One allele cannot suppress the expression of the other allele at all. There are independent expressions in F1 hybrid. And when selfing of the F1 is done, again we get the original parental combinations and the new F1 combination in the F2 progeny. And red, roan and white colored coat colors are observed in the ratio 1:2:1. So in the F2 generation, phenotypic and genotypic ratios are same. Multiple alleles, when more than two alternative forms of a gene in a population occupy the same locus on the chromosome or its homologue, then they are called multiple alleles. They arise by mutation of the wild type of gene. Wild type of gene is the naturally original gene. For example, wing size in Drosophila, the normal wing size is the wild type. A gene can be mutated several times, producing series of alternative expressions. So here we get necked wings, notched wings, strap wings, and vestigial wings. The series of alternative expressions and multiple forms, alternative forms of the gene. This is called multiple alleles. These multiple alleles among themselves show dominant recessive or codominance or incomplete dominance. ABO blood group in human being is also an example of multiple allele. The gene I controls the ABO blood group and alternative forms are IA, IB and the recessive I. Each person possesses any two of the three alleles and therefore the different combinations are IA, IA and recessive I, IB and IB and recessive I, IA, IB and recessive homozygous condition. And what are the blood groups then? This gives rise to blood group A, blood group B, blood group AB, codominance is observed here, and blood group O. Pleiotropy, when a single gene controls two or more different traits, then it is called pleiotropic gene. The phenomenon is called pleiotropy or pleiotropism. The example is sickle cell anemia. It is autosomal recessive disease. It is caused by recessive gene which is denoted by the symbol from the word hemoglobin, HbS. This gene causes two abnormal changes. The molecular structure of the hemoglobin changes and now it can combine with very less number of oxygen molecules and the shape of the RBC changes. From biconcave, it becomes sickle shape. The normal or healthy gene is represented by HbA, which is dominant. So what are the possible different genotypes? HbA, that is homozygous and it is a normal. HbS, it is recessive combination, homozygous and it becomes lethal, the person dies. And HbS, sickle cell, it remains carrier of the disease. So parent, sickle cell carrier parents when are considered, we get HbS as a genotype. The gametes, two types, male gametes and two types of female gametes. To get the offsprings, suppose this gamete, suppose this is a male gamete, unites with this female gamete, then this will be the offspring. If this male gamete unites with this female gamete, then this offspring. This male gamete unites with this female gamete, then this will be the genotype. And this male gamete unites with the female gamete, we get this genotype. So HbA, HbS, HbA, that is heterozygous. So heterozygous are going to be carriers. This is going to be a normal and this will die due to sickle cell anemia. So normal, sickle cell anemic and these two will be sickle cell carriers. So what ratio we get? Phenotypic ratio is only 1:2. Thus, a single gene produces two different expressions. The gene for sickle cell anemia is lethal in homozygous. So same gene, when it is in homozygous condition, it is lethal. and when it is in heterozygous condition, it is a carrier. The phenotypic ratio is 1:2 instead of 3:1. So we have considered in this video monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross, the 3 laws of inheritance, back cross and test cross, and neo-Mendelism, which is deviation from the Mendel's laws. We have come to the end of Mendelian genetics. Thank you.